Hello, my name is Andres, and I do, or at least try to, work as a software development. And here I present you my baby, Ftapp, or Financial Tracking App. Tracking your finances is a mess when you don't have any organization. So the idea of this app was to create a customizable way to maintain and organize your resources, taking into account distribution of salary per percentage, direct incomes contributed, and expenses to sub funds, and set limits to avoid overspending in an amount of time. How this app came to be? With Symfony. Symfony is a PHP framework that uses MVC architecture. Here's a link to this page. This tool is easy to separate the models set in database and their corresponding service to use. The logic used to generate and require any information for every page available for the user and the view of the user when accessing the page. Symfony uses Doctrine to connect an easily managed database. But what is Doctrine? Doctrine is a simple way to manage versioning your database on top of DBIL. Here is a link to its page. With Doctrine, we can create databases, tables, properties, depending on the entity models defined by that we want to use for our project. That's fine and all, but the user can interact with the system to add the various entities required. The bloody dynamic forms. But before explaining this, let's explain a bit the normal flow for adding, let's say, expenses like the food of my cat. Each user can add any bank with a specific currency. Each assigned a bank will have a X amount of funds, taking a X percentage of the total amount of the money added to the bank, such as salary money. Each funds will have an X amount of some funds with an X percentage as before. All the expenses will be tagged to a specific sub-fund, and incomes will be distributed to all sub-funds and sub-funds accordingly to the set percentage, or it can also be targeted to a specific sub-fund that require extra funds. Simple, right? Well, going back to the cat food example, I will assign the expenses of that to my sub-fund assigned to that purpose. In this case, let's say sub-fund Domino, the name of my cat, which is part of the family fund. In this form, you can see the display of most of the informations, bank, motives, and amount. But it will crazy to show every subfund created for the user. So we don't show anything until the fund is selected. So here's where the problem starts. Symfony is a PHP framework which provides a way to solve this problem using AJAX requests with JavaScript to get the necessary information. This could be resolved with frameworks as React and Vue.js, but at the time of development, I wasn't proficient enough with the integration of Symfony with those frameworks, so vanilla JavaScript was the option for now. Well, it was hell. Here you can find the Symfony documentation on how to set this up, but of course, it doesn't explain everything on how to extrapolate this easy example with a more complex one. So here you can find another example on how to deal with this problem along the way. Uh, this simple form took at least a month in development, and yeah, it broke me a bit inside. Nevertheless, I managed to make it work in the end, and I now have a grasp on how to tackle these type of things. After all is said and done, deploying and testing my app is crucial to its success. So how I am planning to make sure of this? With continuing integration. For this project, I use GitLab. Using each configurations tool, we can run regressive tests of features we know it works as we continue to push new features. This makes sure the app is robust and reach the end user as good as it can be. And as a QA professional, we'll love to have this. But as a dev, it's a pain to set it up. So at the time of recording and continue to work to enable it with Jest uh, and another framework for testing. So far, GitLab provides a way to automate the deployment of the new version of the app, but where do we deploy it? So for hosting, I use Heroku. At the beginning of this project, I wanted to use Firebase or a shared hosting service I have for hosting other projects. But through experience, I got that the first one is not possible. And the second one, you need to be a back-end guru, which I'm not. Thanks, Misleading Documentation, for your hints to suggest that it was possible. Quite a lot of time wasted. So, yeah, Heroku. Here's how to deploy a Symfony app in Heroku, and this is on how to create a database on each platform. Took a couple of days of work, but after the initial hiccup, the app was up and running, and this journey of 4 months was done. The motivation to create this app was to get out of the hell of Excel and Google Sheets. In 2017, I started to track my finances, which led to a lot of errors, which were solved in the yearly modifications until 2020 came and I decided to move away to something new, which will be of my own and also a challenge to myself as a developer. Maybe it was the correct path, or maybe not, but I'm happy and enthusiastic on new ideas on features on how to scale the app. What ideas, you say? So here's a list of the things I will work on to get up and running. So the expectation is, I don't know, half of the year. Don't quote me on that. So, what's next? For now, I will continue to work with Ftapp in a monthly basis as a secondary project, but my focus is in the development of my next project, codenamed Jun Jun. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time.